I was a mascot here when I was 8. It was my birthday present from my mum and dad. I went in, met all the players.
Smile, Karen.
Got all their autographs. I used to sit up there. I get quite emotional coming here because my dream was to always play here. I just started playing with the lads in the playground at primary school. I fell in love with it. I just was really lucky I found a passion.
Oh, special guy.
I never thought it would give me an education. I never thought it would give me travel. I never thought it would pay a wage. I never thought I'd be doing this today. I signed up to women's football when I was 8, and that will never change. You should never settle for anything. If you believe in something, you should fight for it. My job is to make sure that every little girl has the best opportunity that she can to play. So when the government asked me to look into the state of the women's game and see what needs changing, I had to say yes. A year on, where are we?
In from him. It's a bit of a scramble in there. Carney! Carney! The Lionesses will lift the Euro 2022 trophy.
When Chloe Kelly stabbed in Lauren Hemp's deflected corner to score the winner in the Euro 2022 Women's Euro final, over 17 million were watching on TV, and that's just in the UK. Fast forward 2 years and Wembley is filling up again. Well, tonight we're playing a rematch of the Euro 22 women's final, England versus Germany. Right behind me we've got Chloe Kelly, who scored the winner here in that magnificent final. I was up here crying my eyes out thinking we've actually done it. I get goosebumps now being back here thinking about that Euro 22 women's final, packed out stadium, and it was just that catalyst of change of the women's game. This is the proof that there is a fan base. You know, the product is amazing. It's just we've got to get that consistency. We've just got to get the clubs and the pyramid and everyone else on board. I wish I was out here. Just before the Women's Euros, I got approached by the government to say, we want you to look into the future of women's football. I was like, right, I'll do it. For a year, I examined every aspect of the game, travelling the country to speak to everyone involved. When I finished, I made recommendations on where we should be heading and what needs to change. In many ways, the game is flourishing, but there's still a lot that needs to be done. There's review because there's issues that we need to fix and resolve.
And in other breaking news, Reading have confirmed that they have withdrawn their women's team from the Championship and intend to operate in the 5th tier.
The Reading story encapsulates so many of the problems I see in the game. A successful top-flight women's team, they were relegated, went part-time, then dropped voluntarily to Tier 5. Players Ava Kuchen and Becky Jane saw the club crumbling and now have to deal with the fallout. Reading were just so consistent in the WSL.
We punched them by weight, didn't we? We ended up, finishing 4th one year and FA Cup semi-final another year. And then I went away, played somewhere different to get minutes, came back, and I think that's when I started to realise that things weren't quite as good as they were.
In what way?
A lot of staff turnover happened. So then staff members were having to do 4 or 5 different job roles just to get by.
No food provided.
No food for the women's team provided, even though we would have paid for it anyway.
So it's gone from a fully professional women's club to part-time. I'm guessing your salary was significantly cut as well, yet the hours were still full-time.
There was zero communication. There was little rumours going on about this might happen, this might happen. We didn't think it actually would. And then, we found out Well, I found out through social media that the
You found out through social media
that the club was then going to drop down to tier 4, tier 5, and then we were called into a meeting that day to say that that was happening, and we were pretty much going to be made redundant.
You've dedicated your lives to football and, you know, put your trust in Reading as well. Like, how was that like for you both?
It was tough for me. I'm kind of Reading through and through, so I've grown up there and created a career out of it. So to find out that there was potentially no club at all was really tough. I think also coaching within the girls' academy as well, we then had to go and tell that there's not going to be a team anymore.
How did that make you feel towards women's football?
A little bit bitter, if I'm honest. You kind of think, what was the point in the end when you're just going to take it all away from us?
I'd say it's probably the first time I've even considered what life could look like without football. We've all been on such a clear path since we were 7, 8, so it is really hard to think about what I would do right now if I wasn't to play football.
The scary thing for me is if one club can do it, then does that give the licence for other clubs to be like, oh, you know, people will get over it and we can do it as well. The past year, it's we haven't had people within the club to actually go, oh, what about the women's team? What about doing this with the women's team? What about helping them? We haven't had anyone within that. And I think that needs to be a consistent thing within clubs for people actually striving for better.
It's sad to see players going through this. Reading's owners said they couldn't afford to keep running the women's team and the whole club was struggling financially, so the funding was cut. In my report, I recommended minimum standards when it comes to facilities, medical care and food. It feels like men's clubs are still treating the women's game as second class.
At the moment, the revenue streams are still really low. So the women's game, for the time being, is still really reliant on money from the owners of men's clubs. And we're often seeing, if a men's football club is struggling financially, one of the first things where they try and cut costs is the women's team. We've seen that 2017, Notts County. We've seen that with Fulham 20 years ago. We've seen it with Yeovil. And we saw it again this summer with Reading, which was desperately sad. And I don't think it will be the last time we see it either.
Around the same time, Blackburn announced that they are only paying minimum wage. Some clubs seem to be really struggling to maintain standards for female players. And that impacts fans as well.
It feels like a really easy decision for a club to make when they're looking to cut costs. It's the wrong thing to do, and it shouldn't have been done. And it feels like a lack of, it's a lack of duty of care to staff, football players and fans.
Yeah. For me, it's more of a way of life. Every week going to watch the team home and away.
So you went to home and away games?
Yeah.
Loads of travel?
Yeah, nearly 7,000 miles last season that I drove to watch the team.
Do you think we've taken a step back in women's game?
It is going forward, but it's going forward for the bigger teams, and the lower down teams are basically getting forgot about. If you're not part of the big teams, no one really cares.
If you look to the States, women's football is booming. Angel City just sold for $250 million, and investors see similar value over here. The American League is driven by shrewd business and a knack for maximising revenue. The key recommendation in my report was that we need the same here in the UK. At the FA's base at St George's Park, they're launching the Championship for 24-25. But for the first time, it's not the FA who are in charge.
My role is the CEO of the new independent company that will be owned and operated by the participating clubs in the Women's Super League and the Women's Championship.
Ex-college basketballer Nikki Doucette has been brought in from Nike to find ways of making the game more profitable.
Look at the competitiveness come out of you.
Why was it so important that the WSL and the Championship went from the FA to the Women's Professional League?
It's important to have a dedicated management team to drive the business going forward. Just wanted to come say hi. I'm Nikki. Hi, nice to meet you. The business side I still see is in startup mode. I think historically it's been seen more as like a charity or
Responsibility.
a responsibility, which means it hasn't been seen as a proper business without the proper time, dedication, strategy against it to allow it to really grow. And despite all of that, it's growing. If you were to take the words women's football away and you were to just look at our growth numbers, you would think that this is a high-growth tech startup. There is a real business opportunity, and our job right now is to help build a structure that creates an investable proposition.
Like what they thought about last season and what their goals are for next season.
For me, actually, the biggest barrier is the word football. It starts there.
What do you mean?
The unconscious bias of the word football means men's football. The FA Cup versus the Women's FA Cup. The World Cup versus the Women's World Cup. One is then inherently worth more than the other.
How are you? Okay. This is
Hi, I'm Nikki.
Hi, I'm Eleanor.
Nice to meet you.
How important are those people at the top table?
I don't believe that this is taking away from men's football. I believe with the right strategy, with the right investment, with continuing on the growth trajectory that we're on, having a women's team will ultimately drive long-term enterprise value for any club. We want to show that women's professional sport can be financially successful, sustainable, and the WSL and the championship will be the best, most successful, most valuable women's sports league in the world, period.
Love that. Nikki's optimism is backed up by the stats. The game is becoming more appealing to investors and sponsors.
My name's Amy Clark and I'm Women's Sport Lead for Deloitte Sports Business Group. We advise organisations on the growth of women's sport. We've seen huge growth in the women's game over the last few years. This year, we saw revenues of £48 million, which was more than 50% higher than last year, and more than double what we saw just 2 years ago. We're seeing investors come in who are looking specifically to target their investment at the women's game. They're not just doing it because they think it's the right thing to do. It is, but there is a significant business opportunity in women's football.
It's the first day of the new championship season in Bromley, and two of the favourites for promotion to the WSL are going head-to-head.
We cannot wait to get in and watch them. There's not enough of it around here that we can access. So it's great. It's my wee girl's 9th birthday, so we're thrilled to be going. I just think it's brilliant to get girls' football, and we got tickets through school, and all the girls are coming along.
It's like family, this club, and it's just nice to see everyone at games, and it's just a brilliant atmosphere. It's a women's only team, and they just keep progressing more and more. WSL, here we come.
Newcastle United women's team only got promoted last year, and they're playing the London City Lionesses, a team that used to be attached to Millwall but is now owned independently by US billionaire Michelle Kang. She's pouring millions into the Lionesses and her two other teams, Washington Spirit and Olympic Lyonnais. She's spending on some big names like Swedish legends Kosovari Asllani.
It was great to score my first goal and help the team when we were 1-0 down, but I think it was a good start.
Obviously, you've been part of some new projects before,
Yeah.
and I'm wondering what feels different about this project.
We're creating a new team, a lot of new players. We're on building something great with London City Lionesses, and the coolest part is that it's a woman investing. I wanted to be a part of the project due to that and help her achieving this dream that will succeed.
As well as the former Manchester City and Real Madrid women's striker, they've nabbed PSG's manager. They're not messing around.
It's not a new chapter, it's quite a new book we are writing. We have everything to build. We have fun to seduce, convince to follow us. History to create. There's the first page of the new story. The first page is done, and I hope the journey will be long and beautiful.
You played good today. Thank you very much.
Nikki Dissett and investors like Michelle Kang see potential in the women's game, but there's a big difference between soccer in the US and football over here.
A lot of the optimism comes from the success in America, where they've seen new teams come in, like Angel City, like Kansas City, flourish and see hugely exciting revenue growth. In America, you have these standalone teams.
Yep.
And they're free to do whatever they like with their merchandising and their marketing. For anyone who's got really excited about revenue growth, that it might be on the same scale as the rapid revenue growth we've seen at Angel City, for example, I think that it won't be that easy because it's just not the same. England's very different. There is a culture in England that's deep-rooted in our society, and changing that is not an overnight switch.
Tom's right. The relationship with established men's clubs is complicated and doesn't always help the women's game. But down on the south coast, one English men's club is showing the way and clearly sees potential profit in having a women's team. Brighton have invested over 8 million on a training centre, and that's just the start.
So this is the boot room. Staff's boots are on this side. Players' boots are on the left-hand side there.
You can tell the staff, to be fair, though, because they're quite boring colours to the players, aren't they?
This is some fancy gadget to help them warm the boots up when it gets a little bit cold or when they get wet outside.
They can warm their boots up?
Yes. Our vision is to be a top 4 club in the Women's Super League. Players are well aware that that's our aspiration and where we want to be. This is one of our treatment rooms.
I was always in here.
You spent a lot of time in here, did you, Karen?
Yeah, well, I didn't have a nice treatment room. It was very different to this, put it that way.
So you'll see the gym.
Wow.
Exactly the same as what the men's team have over in EPC1. This is just designated solely for the women's and girls. Even when they've got a little bit of downtime, they come in here to do their TikToks and there are other things they do in the downtime, yeah. In her element, aren't you, Karen?
It's all your mobility stuff. Could never do it. Crap at it.
Our resistance pool, so our players will use this for different parts of their rehab.
Test the old temperature. Nice. The thing that impresses me about this is that we had to share the swimming pool at the men's training facility at like 7 in the morning. For me, this is a real big detail that makes a massive difference. You can use it at your own time, I'm guessing.
Yeah, absolutely. They can use this whenever they want to use it at their own time, and they don't need to think about scheduling around a men's first team or an Academy Under-21s team in terms of getting access to the gym, getting access into the pool.
If you're going to sign a player and there's another club interested, do you think this is a differentiator for you to sign that player?
Yeah, I think we'd like to think so. We'd like to say we could use this as a competitive advantage over other clubs. As the women's game grows, as you know, like, the expectation from the players probably is going to be that this is just the norm.
Yeah.
Right now, in the growth of the game and the trajectory that it's on, we hope that our players sort of really appreciate the investment that the owner and the football club have made.
I played with Sophie Bagley at Birmingham. Now she's Brighton's #1.
Hi.
How are you? Okay.
Who gives you these? Who gives you these gigs?
Is that all right with that noise?
You can tell them shut. Yeah, you can. Shut up! Don't put that on there.
Oh, Baggers.
Hello.
What's it like then at Brighton?
Yeah, it's really cool. I think obviously you can see from the facilities, like, it's a great place, and it just shows how far women's football has come. We played at Birmingham together. We was on a back pitch at Solihull Moors, and you know, we had to share pictures and things like that, and here we've got our own, so yeah, we can just let the football do the talking.
What is it like for you as a person in terms of facilities, how you're treated?
It just makes you feel valued as a player and a person. I think we've probably been there in the past where we've been treated as second class behind, like, the men, the boys. I think to be able to have that, I think it's what we deserve, to be honest. The amount of work that's gone into it, and we're finally getting there. I think there's a long way to go still, but I think, yeah, it's a really positive step.
Vicky Losada joined Brighton Women last season. She's played at Barcelona, Arsenal and Manchester City Women, so she's seen the game evolve. Are you surprised by what they've created here?
When I came here, I was really surprised the way, well, the facilities, of course, having a unique area for the women's side, and also I think in another clubs, we wouldn't see the men's team at all, actually. I think Brighton, we're still in the process of improving more things, of course, but it's important, the base that we have here is massive compared to other clubs. So
Do you think other clubs should do that?
Yeah, of course.
Put the foundations in first? And...
Yeah, so I think the foundations here are high standards. And of course, we need to keep developing, but other clubs should have at least these minimums that we have here.
Amazing. You're so good, honestly.
Thank you.
I don't mean to.
No, why do you say that?
You're so good. It's an investment in standards that I recommended for all professional sides, and it came when Brighton men's team was still in the Championship.
We needed to get all of the board to buy into it, and it was a long discussion. It was 3 or 4, maybe 5 hours of debating whether it was the right time for the club to divert funds to the women's game and the girls' game, or whether we should stay totally focused on our ambition to get to the Premier League and stay in the Premier League.
And good decision?
Very good decision, and I think you can see now we've taken it a step further. You know, we've put in place now the infrastructure to support the women's team.
This is a business, isn't it? So everything that you have to do, you have to justify.
Yeah. We think in the long term, women's football will make money. It will generate a return for the club. But we also understand that we've got probably quite a long journey between now and then. But in the longer term, if we get all of these foundations right, then there will be a return at the end of it for the club. The next stage for us is seeing whether we can actually develop a women's specific stadium, because we feel at the moment the Amex isn't the right place for our women's team.
What would be the differences then?
Well, if you look at the first team dressing room at the Amex at the moment, it's a world-class stadium with world-class dressing rooms, but at the moment it's got 2 cubicles. And if you've got 20 female athletes and maybe 10 female staff and a 16, 17-minute half-time period and only 2 cubicles, that isn't really giving the athletes the best possible chance of, A, getting the respect they deserve, but B, being comfortable mid-game. So that's a small aspect. If you look at the perspective for the fans, the Amex is geared up to selling 20,000 pints of beer a game and 10,000 pies. Well, women might enjoy a beer and they might enjoy a pie, but they probably don't drink or eat as many in the same quantity as men. That's a slightly different audience at the moment from the men's game, and we want to reflect that and respect that.
When do you think you'll get your stadium, or can you not say?
I'd like as soon as possible, and we're excited about it.
I like it. The women's professional leagues and Brighton see women's football as similar but different to the men's game. And like their American counterparts, believe that new sponsors and investors will see the potential.
We see a much more family-focused crowd, a much more diverse crowd at women's games. That diverse audience is really interesting to commercial partners as well. We know that women make a lot of the household purchasing decisions, and so the revenue potential for that's currently untapped in men's football is massive. There is potential for significant revenue growth and to broaden into new markets.
Just a few days after I visited Brighton and heard all about their plans to build a women's stadium, there was some less encouraging news from Manchester.
I haven't asked you what you're doing with the women at Manchester United.
Well, they've just won the FA Cup.
But do you look for, would you spin it off?
We haven't got into that level of detail with the women's football team yet. We've been pretty much focused on how do we resolve the first team issues really in that environment. And that's been pretty full-time for the first 6 months.
So TBC?
Correct.
Jim Radcliffe didn't go to watch his team in the Women's FA Cup final. Then he announced the men's team would be moving into the women's training facilities while they had building work done. A huge story this summer was about Manchester United and Manchester United women.
It was not at all surprising because of the tone of some of the things we'd heard from the Ineos group over the last few months. Just the fact that Sir Jim Ratcliffe chose not to come to the Women's FA Cup final, I think that sent a little bit of a message to everyone involved in the women's team that perhaps it just wasn't a priority. And then essentially admitted, Jim Ratcliffe, that they hadn't really gone into detail on the women's side. That was honest, which I suppose is better than perhaps having an owner who tells you they love women's football and then privately doesn't really care. Here was an owner being quite honest and saying the men's team is my priority.
The mindset of women's team are not the forefront, that upsets me because when something comes from the top, that filters down. If your top people believe in it, then it will thrive. If they don't, it won't. Women's football has every reason to be suspicious of the male football establishment. We were banned by the FA until 1971, after all. That sense of defiance lives on.
We're here at the Dripping Pan, which is our home ground for Lewes FC. We are the first club in the world to equally resource our men's and women's teams. We value them the same. We've done this since 2017. Woo! We're still the only club to do it, which says something about the sexist nature of football. And come on, you rooks! We are 100% community-owned. So we have 2,500 owners in 40 countries around the world. Women's football being dependent on the men's game is fundamentally problematic. We've got everything that we need to reimagine a different way of doing football that's better, that's not crippling, that doesn't rely on, you know, oligarchs or states to actually fund it, but is funded by the people that believe in it. You know, the community of interest. You know, these people.
So Kate Nash, maybe Charlotte did a song for you guys, like a Lewes song, football song. You're the first
video, and it's the first time it's ever been listened to.
Plays in the same. Yeah. So it's like the rooks are coming as a hook.
Yeah, the rooks are coming.
And I think the idea is if you guys could lip sync, then it could potentially get a music video.
If you're going to champion women's football, you have to not see them as second best, and as soon as you have any kind of struggle with your men's team, shaft them out. That's so devaluing women's football, and by extension, women. It really pisses me off, you know, because what we do in football impacts the world. The way we see our great athletes is the way we see ourselves, honestly. So if they're all going to be men and boys that we treat well in sports, how do the women in society, the women and girls, how do we get our value?
The rooks are coming.
We are women who play football and we want to be valued as such. We don't want to be relegated out of a toxic system that doesn't support us.
A toxic system that doesn't support us. I know what she means.
And let's talk about Cristiano Ronaldo. He's going to come into this tournament hungry off the back of a disappointing
It's 10 years since Eniola Aluko first appeared on Match of the Day, opening the way for female pundits. Pundits like my old teammate, Jill Scott.
What age can you not wear high-top trainers?
Jill, those are really cool, man. Sweet.
I think you look smart.
But along with all the positive comments, she's also had some horrible abuse. And this is one of the biggest problems the game faces, male prejudice.
When you're doing the men's games, I know you've experienced it, I've experienced it.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. You haven't even put the microphone to your mouth. People are like, what's she doing on there? How can she comment on men's football? But I do feel like now people are starting to challenge what people are saying. And everyone goes, yeah, but it's good you're getting the opportunities now. But it's not like you want to be grateful for the opportunity. You want to believe, and I'm sure we both do believe, without sounding big-headed, that we can live in these spaces and contribute.
It's still hard, though. I think you're a lot more thicker skinned than me, and like I've had some big knocks, and I've really struggled to recover from that. I retired in 2019 at the World Cup.
Yeah.
And I was like, I feel quite comfortable about retiring because it was a sold-out stadium. The football was amazing.
Yeah.
And then obviously going into the media, for me, it felt like going back to the 12-year-old little girl, 11-year-old little girl again.
We were saying that when Ronaldo broke down, there was still extra time to go, penalty. So we just thought it was
that
a
the
bit...
right emotion?
Yeah.
At the end of the game, when they needed to come together and obviously get ready for extra time, everyone's consoling him. I was like, you've still got time to win the game, put things right.
And he did put it right.
Yeah, he did. From the age of 7, 8, 9 years old, you get told you can't play football with the boys, but you'd be showing up at the age of 7 or 8, still on a Tuesday with your football boots, wanting to play football. So from being young, we have that resilience. It's like, knock us down and you'll just see us even more, because that's the resilience that's built up of being in a male-dominated environment. We have to just keep powering through, because you know what, there might be one young girl, she might not like playing football, but she might like football, and she might think, you know what, watching Carney do that game, I want to do that when I'm older. And you're enabling a young girl to dream of a different job in a different world, and these random people can give a stick, but it's the people that matter that you listen to.
What would it be that...
Male allies, I suppose, really need to speak up for the women's game.
I think Jill's the best personality on Stick to Football. I don't even think of it when I see Jill as a female voice. Obviously, she is a female voice. I just see it as someone who's absolutely brilliant.
Bloody hell, did Germany do big bananas? Look at the size of that.
The way in which her and Roy interact, I think it's probably, to be fair, the funniest part of Stick to Football for me.
Look at this
Seriously,
phone.
it's embarrassing, seriously.
Apple, can you send Roy a new phone?
Yeah, can we get a new phone for Roy Keane, please? To be honest with you, speaking to somebody whose mum was kicked out of the boys' football team in the 1960s in Greater Manchester, and it made sort of headline news in the local paper at that time. You're talking about someone who understands sort of the lack of funding for women's sport, because of my sister having to sort of choose between university or education and pursuing netball, and then didn't get paid for like 7 or 8 years.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No. Look. Honestly, the idea that someone picks a phone up and thinks that they should, can, will basically write a negative comment about hearing a woman's opinion on football is absolutely fucking bizarre. It's bizarre.
My darling.
So you just accepted Kaz got one, then you went, and you've got one.
I won money or something.
I think, honestly, it's like...
People walking past me.
Kids. They are like kids. Key to my report were pathways into the game for young players. Everyone has to be able to access the sport, but also be safe and expect minimum standards. And as the game grows, academies and facilities become more important. I came through at Birmingham, but it's changed so much. For one thing, England legend Hope Powell is technical director. I don't recall this. This definitely wasn't here. It was nice to have a good nose, isn't it?
If the players come to an environment like this, the performances generally increase. It's nice, isn't it?
The women's team have their own purpose-built training facilities, but are now playing matches at St Andrews, which is great in most aspects. Women need cubicles and not urinals. Coming from a warm-up and you've got 5 minutes to get in, and also thinking there's 24, there's one toilet,
Yeah.
and you've got to figure that out, there's nowhere to put anything, and you're like...
Got to think about those things. Whereas
Yeah.
now at the training ground we have enough toilets, enough of everything, so that you feel...
It's not an anxiety.
That's the word. The changing room is designed for females.
When you
It's
say
got,
designed for females, though, because...
the vanity window, the cubicles, single cubicles, the sanitary products. This is all open. Our changing room, it would all be cubicled.
Is that what's needed for the female player?
I think so. I think.
And the players have given that feedback?
Yeah, I think so. They want to be a bit privacy,
Yeah.
you know.
Hope oversees all aspects of football here, from the academy to the first team. An ex-England manager, she's a real trailblazer. Is it true that you were banned, though?
I was banned at the age of 11 for playing for my school team, me and another girl called Jane Bartley, because at that time you weren't supposed to play mixed football with boys. And the school put us into a team. We did very well. I think we actually won the game, and the school complained and we got banned.
Who banned you?
The FA banned us. I was the bend it like Beckham girl, let me tell you.
Yeah?
I did all of that, got in trouble, did it again, got in trouble, did it again.
As England manager, Hope helped set up the first England youth teams. She's pivotal to English women's football. He obviously was really instrumental on the review and was rightfully shouting out for more diversity in the women's game.
The training facilities of clubs, you know, I look at Brighton, I look at Chelsea, I look at Arsenal, they're in leafy suburbia. You know, I look at where I was at Brighton, Lancing, where the training ground was situated was a really hard place to get to. And I'd often stay and watch the kids play and everything. And I saw the cars pulling into the car park, your Tesla, your Beat, and I thought they were players. And these were parents of kids who were quite wealthy. So only the wealthy kids could get there. And, you know, people of colour, look it up, research would suggest that we are lower income earners. So therefore, the money that it costs to get to training, you've got to weigh that up. Do I pay to get a cab to get training, or do I put food on the table? And I think that choice for some parents has been quite a challenge. Therefore, some of the kids don't get the opportunity.
It's a real issue, a lack of diversity and a setup that ends up excluding working class kids. The only reason why I think I made it was because my sister's 12 years older than me. My elder sister used to take me. It meant my mum could work, which paid for my football. That was what shocked me on the review, is that we still haven't moved. You have to be affluent to travel. To play football, it is such a cost. So if you're worth something, clubs will pay for you to go and travel. Well, girls were not seen as an asset, they were seen as a cost deficit. So why would a club put on transport for you to get to training?
Much to your delight, we are going to be doing a bit of a tournament today.
You can't be the next lioness, the next commentator, the next fan, if you don't have access to the game.
Hi, I'm Karen. I'm the Academy Manager.
Oh, here in North London, there's an organisation that provides just that to girls who might not have a Tesla.
Can I have a little kick around with them? Right, move back a little bit, take 2 yards back. I'm totally hijacking your session. So you're going to pass it in to me, and I'm going to set it, and you're just going to have a shot, OK? Shoot. Straight, unlucky, head down, keep your head down. You're going to go in and pass it in. Nice pass. Don't get ahead of the ball, because I'll pass it like that. Strike. Woo! Nice. Who's up next? This side, this side. And again, strike it through. Brilliant. Oh, lucky. Play cross. There we go, better. There you go, go. Strike. 1, 2, 3. Bloomsbury!
You pulling faces? Bloomsbury Football runs sessions for over 5,000 young people in London.
Have a good one, guys. Get home safe.
They're free to anyone who can't afford to pay.
The access to being in a professional academy is so challenging. So here, we're bringing the high-level football to their doorstep, but actually a lot of the professional training grounds are miles out of town. So you take a Tottenham, for example, it's not easy to get to, it's not near a tube station. It's an amazing facility if you can make it there, but not everyone can afford to travel all the way out to Enfield 3 or 4 times a week. You're also looking at how safe is it to get home. It's all those considerations that you have to take into account.
Diversity issues are a big topic,
Definitely.
Specifically in women's football.
Yeah, I think it's more noticeable in the women's game at the moment. We're still in that boom stage where a lot of girls from different backgrounds are coming into the sport, but we need to be providing an elite experience for everyone.
What they're doing here is amazing. It's key to what my review was calling for, widening participation, giving more girls a chance to discover what I fell in love with. But, and there's always a but, some of those horrible old prejudices linger on, even here.
There's that big dropout rate with secondary school players. We've had girls turning up to games, and sometimes there might be a group of boys kind of messing about behind the goal, and like they might make comments and that kind of thing, which obviously is just going to put them off. I've even got it before, like when I've been coaching, like so many times, like I've had little comments from either like a dad telling me like, oh, are you sure you should be doing that? You're always feeling like you have to do double the amount of work just to do the exact same job. But I do think there's still such a long way to go. The girls, even young ones in the playground, will still have boys like questioning why they should be there. Or
that infuriates me because those viewpoints, they come from somewhere. How do we change that?
I think, you know, you're always going to have those like trolls on social media, always fighting against this kind of feminist movement that we're having within football. And I think parents are a big one as well. There's only too many parents that still have the same ideas that they had when they were younger, where it was acceptable to behave in a sexist way. More education, I think. I think that's the best way.
When I did the review, I didn't sleep well. My heart rate was elevated by 10 beats every night. I thought that the game had moved forward. And when I did the review, I realised it hadn't. What had moved forward was us bringing back a trophy, the Lionesses. We've still got so much more work to do, and I'm all right. I'm fine for rolling up the sleeves, but it's when there's people's mindsets that I think have been around for many, many years. That's what I worry about, that we can't change for a long time. And that's what makes me angry. But when I come to a project like this, meet people like this, it reminds me of why I did the review.
Is this what we have to do? OK.
I'll do it on the next one. Thank you so much. These kids are just coming here playing tonight. They just come in, they're free, they're in a safe environment. That's all you ever want for your kids, is to be free, happy and safe. This place is going to ruin me. All my makeup's going to be running. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're signed up for this to life, aren't we? We will get there, and even if it's not us, it will be the next ones that will. So we just have to keep going. The fight continues. Here we go.